Hola, hola.
Gusto.
Bueno, gracias.
When you report inaccurately, or you call us fascists, or you call us white supremacists, or you call us Nazis, every time your colleagues or yourselves do that, it dehumanizes us. And it makes it easier for us to get persecuted like we have been. I didn't call this press conference just for me. I called this press conference for all the J6ers, including Ethan Nordine, Joe Biggs, Dominic Pizzola, and Zachary Real. They have their sentences commuted. I can't talk to my brothers because of the corrupt DOJ. And whether you think I'm right or wrong, I do blame some of the press for that. So with that, I'll open the floor to questions. I can't tell you exactly what I'm gonna do, because I don't know what I wanna do yet. It's been about 48 hours since I've been home. So for the past 3 years, I've made all these plans about what I'm gonna do, whether it's with family life, business, with the Proud Boys. And about 2 months ago, I decided to scrap all those plans. I just focus on coming home and reuniting with my family. Now, to answer your question a little bit more directly, will the Proud Boys be focusing on like local issues? I think we have never stopped focusing on local issues. I think we love our communities that we live in. Agree with us or not, we might do things a little different, but I think the war isn't on politics, the war isn't on liberals or Republicans or conservatives or Democrats. The war is on the culture. And the issues that we have with some of these school boards is we feel, again, right or wrong, that indoctrination of our children is wrong. So that's something that we're never gonna stop fighting.
Enrique, there were 1,500 J6ers pardoned, and some of them attacked police officers. I'm sure you've seen the video. And so we certainly have talked to police officers and law enforcement. Yeah, sure. And so we've talked with law enforcement who take offense to that, and wondering if you have any offense to what went on over there and some of those riders attacking police officers.
Yeah.
Do you think that was right, or do you think
Under no circumstances am I going to condone violence against anybody, especially law enforcement, right? What happened that day, I don't like what happened that day, and I voiced that opinion the day of. I don't like what happened that day. I actually even said that in front of the dishonorable Judge Kelly. People who put their hands on a police officer should get charged with whatever it is, whether it's assault on a police officer, but that's not where the problem in these cases is. The problem is on these cases lie in the miscarriage of justice and how it was performed in these cases in DC. We can start with the DC jury. It's not only not fair for the defendants, it's not fair for the jurors. For a person that knows that they're biased, and they still get sad. You asked if about school board meetings and things like that. There was actually seated as one of our jurors was somebody that puts together these events called Drag Queen Story. And during our trial, the Proud Boys were protesting Drag Queen Story. It is unfair to sit that person in any jury that has to do anything with the Proud Boys, Trump supporters, or whatever. So, to answer your question,
I'm trying to get to the
to answer your question more directly, is they did deserve a pardon because of the miscarriage of justice, not because of their actions that day. We probably wouldn't be here. That question wouldn't be necessary if the judges did the right thing and took these cases and moved them out of the District of Columbia, maybe Virginia, maybe Maryland. That I don't know.
So
as far as the semantics of it, my attorneys are more.
Those who attack the officers, they should be out of jail. Is your position?
I want to be unequivocally clear when I say that. the process was flawed, the process was corrupted. Therefore, there was no other option but to pardon and commute the sentences of those that did those actions that you're referring to. Enrique, I can't take credit for something I didn't do. Did I celebrate it? Absolutely, I celebrated it. I celebrated it like half of America celebrated what happened at the Capitol. One, we have to, I wish we had a time machine, but if you go back to that day, there wasn't a lot of information coming in. So all we saw on TV at that point was, we didn't see like the rioting or anything like that happen. We just saw a breach at the Capitol. To be honest on how I thought of exactly what happened in my mind that day, I turned on the TV just like all of you guys. That's how I found out about what happened at the Capitol. I turn on the TV and I see a bunch of protesters inside the Capitol, and the caption read, "Protesters enter the Capitol." To me, at that point, I thought like people went on a Capitol tour and I guess like went crazy. I didn't think that they broke into the building. I had no idea. Later on, I found out, but the way that information came in, I said certain things. I'm not going to apologize. That's what I felt at the moment. But I can't take credit for something I didn't do. And I'm going to go a little bit beyond. After seeing what they did to me and what they did to Ethan Nordine, Joe Biggs, Zachary Real, and Dominic Pizzola, I'm definitely not going to condemn what happened. They took their lives from me. My best friend Joe Biggs got to take his daughter to school for the first time. For the first time. My brother, Zachary Real, got to hold his daughter for the first time. His wife was pregnant when he was arrested. I'm not saying you, the Department of Justice took 4 years of these men's lives. And they took 4 years of many American lives for political gain. That is the use of force, because you're incarcerating somebody, for a political purpose. And I'm pretty sure my attorneys agree with me. I got charged for less than that, and I got hit with terrorism. That is terrorism. That is a definition of state terrorism.
But there are officers who lost their lives. So for instance, they won't ever be able to visit with their children again. So for those that say the act itself was terrorism and that it wasn't just dangerous to democracy and it wasn't just violent, but it was deadly, what do you say to those half of Americans?
I sympathize with the families of those officers. Those officers certainly lost their lives, but we gotta use facts. The autopsy report that Brian Sicknick died from natural causes.
Are you going to take legal actions against previous officials from the Biden administration for human rights violations?
We are currently working, and the short answer is yes, but we are currently assessing our options on not only who to sue, because there's a lot of people to sue. Take civil litigation. Sue's not the right word, is it?
Civilly through the Department
Yes.
of Justice Human Rights Division.
Yes, so there was also a violation of human rights for the treatment of some of these prisoners. In my specific case, I was put in box cuffs. I don't know if any of you know what box cuffs are. It looks like a medieval torture device, and by UN standard, an inmate can only be held in box cuffs for about 4 hours. About 2.5 months ago, I was held in box cuffs for 26.5 hours. I had to urinate inside a Gatorade bottle in a moving van. So that's just a taste of
Can you
what
describe what that was like?
The first part of that question?
Was, what is the status of the Proud Boys? And you did say to Christine that you expect to remain active locally.
Yeah, so the status of the Proud Boys is the same status as it's always been. If you go ahead and you Google the end of the Proud Boys, there's been articles written since 2017. I mean, there's probably hundreds of articles about how the Proud Boys end. We never end, because it's not just an organization, it's also an idea. An idea of It's pro-American values, pro-free speech values, pro-Second Amendment values, pro-family, first and foremost. And something I learned from my beautiful mom. And as far as getting a job in the administration, wait till it closes. Okay. As far as getting a job in the administration, I would love a job. I mean, I don't think there's anybody in this room that would say no to a job with the Trump administration. Do I think it's realistic? I don't think so. You know, Trump has a lot of things to do. The president's doing an amazing job right now. We've seen historic changes just in the past couple of days. I'm happy about the future. America's back, and let me tell you, I'm back, and I'm happier than ever. I'm happy to be. I lost 3 years of my life, and I'm going to say their names again: Ethan Nordine, Dominic Azzola, Zachary Real, and Joe Biggs. They took 4 years from their life. I want accountability, right? Like they told me, if you didn't do anything wrong, then why are you afraid of an investigation? Because they're up in arms right now about it. But let's talk about reality. My lawyers probably know this very well. There is enough laws in the books in the United States, and the word is Byzantine, right? 1,000 years into the future, Byzantine's not going to be a word, it's going to be American. Because our system is so bureaucratic. You could literally jail somebody for anything at any time. You could indict a ham sandwich. Well, in DC that day, they were passing out ham sandwiches for free. They passed out 1,500 ham sandwiches, and it shouldn't have happened. And I am happy the president reviewed these cases one by one and saw that the process was corrupt. It wasn't about the acts, it was about the process. I believe in law and order, I believe in justice, I don't condone violence. I'll call it out when I see it. If you guys individually tell me, hey, this is what happened, do you condone this? I will condone violence every time, 100% of the time.
So what do you really have
January
spoken?
6th.
Well, okay, how about this? When I say, have I spoken to the president or anybody in the administration? Absolutely not. I don't know anybody in the administration. I take a job in the administration. I make the joke, it's a joke, I make the joke that I take the position of Secretary of Retaliation. Maybe it was given to me. It's a joke. But if it's serious, I'll really take it. What was the second part of your question? And to be very frank, it's difficult, you know. It's overwhelming, I guess. And I didn't ask for it. Never in a million years did I picture me sitting with 1,000 microphones in front of me, like I used to see on TV when I was a kid, with 1,000 cameras. I was a regular street kid from Miami. Had a great family, or have a great family. And it's unreal to me that we've gotten this far, you know? And I really don't want this. I mean, it's uncomfortable.
When is it?
Considered a hotel 120 miles away with hardly any communication. I'm being called the mastermind. The prosecutor, before the event happened, before the event was announced that it was going to happen, somehow I planned it before there was even an event. I started planning the assault on the Capitol before Trump before Biden stole the election. But I guess that'll be a question that you guys will ask now. But how do you plan something that you don't even know what's going to happen? I'll be honest with you, it sounds cool. It sounds real cool. It sounds like a villain, like a Bond villain, like I'm some type of puppet master. And I'm sorry I'm going to cuss right now, but it's bullshit. It's straight bullshit. I don't know how to say bullshit.
No, pero lo que estaba diciendo, lo que preguntó en español.
How do you define that successful retribution? So, and specifically on Alex Jones, I'll go ahead and I'll say it again. So I said that it's right of the president to focus on success instead of retribution, because those were his words. That's what President Trump is going to focus on. He's going to focus on success. But I don't play by those same rules. I want accountability. I know he wants accountability too, I'm not saying he doesn't, but I want accountability, and I want focus on accountability for those that did this to us.
When they hear you say you want accountability as you sit here in their view having escaped accountability.
Well, two things I'd like to say to that is, maybe those people should now focus on the real problem. Maybe they should become advocates for actual justice across the board. Two, elections have consequences. But the system has to change so no future administration can abuse of that power, right? So maybe those people that get angry, I want them to stay angry, and I want them to focus on the problem. So I'm thankful that there's people like that. 30 months or 30 days, like, it's a lot. It's a lot. I did 4 months in DC for burning that banner, and I'll be honest, like, those 4 months felt longer than the almost 3 years that I did just now. The conditions, BOP got to do a better job. You know, food, not only is it scarce, it's horrible. And when we're talking about the DC gulag, I mean, I think they get like backroom Walmart employees, and they're like, you want to be a cop? And they just toss them a badge. You know, not to say anything about, there's nothing wrong with working at Walmart in the back room. I'm just saying you should be an officer right after. But there are horror stories. There are assaults by police officers. I was at United States Penitentiary, Atlanta. I got punched in the face, not for doing anything, because I have 0 incident reports while I've been in prison, but I got punched in the face for being who I am, you know? And United States Penitentiary in Atlanta, I saw 2 people die because they weren't receiving medical attention. There wasn't no SOS button in the cell, and one of them had a heart attack, and the other one had some other medical condition, and nobody came for hours. By the time they got there, the body was cold. This is the American prison system. Welcome to the free world.
Si lo puedo decir en español, eso mismo.
Acuérdate de lo que me preguntó.
Sí, ya lo tengo.
Does this now prove that President Trump is absolutely honorable and righteous because he kept his word and let a great brother like you out? Does that prove that to you?
Not only does it prove it to me, the president has proven that he stands with all Americans, regardless of your political background, how you identify, and all the cringe, like, focused on race, religion, LGBTQ. We don't care. I hate answering questions about race and stuff like that, but because the president doesn't see color. The president doesn't see who you want to sleep with at the end of the night. The president just sees us as Americans, and I think we saw what 4 years of Trump did. Some people might disagree, but I think the 4 first years of Trump, he was the best president since George Washington.
Yes.
And I can't say for the next 4 years, but he might be equal with our first president after these next 4 years.